இனிய மாலை பொழுதுக்கு ஒரு அழகு சேர்க்கிறதுக்கு இந்த புக் ரிலீஸ் ஃபங்க்ஷன் தான் எல்லாரும் இங்கே அசம்பிள் ஆயிருக்கும். ஸோ may I now request in the golden hands of chief guest Justice N. Kripakaran will release the book written by author CSS Dhanapal, Guide to National Company Law Tribunal and Guide to National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. May I request all the dignitaries on the dais to join this book release. Friends, this book has 768 pages. I was told it has taken close to 6 months to write this book. It has 7 units, 66 chapters. Very uniqueness of this particular book is it has more than 100 plus flowcharts which explains very clearly the flow of various provisions and the process, especially the legal procedures. Understanding the legal procedures and the process will be much clear if it is in a chart form. Covering all the provisions of everything is included, and this is first of its kind in India.
Things that so far having a problem for the industry is always the cases, normally the company related cases, getting delayed. It takes a lot of time for disposal. Now with the current NCLT in place, things are hastened up. We are seeing definitely speedy clearance of the cases happening. We are very happy from the industry side. That's one good thing is happening. And that way what Mr. Dhanapal is doing, that this book is going to benefit quite a lot of people. I think a lot of people will read and benefit a lot. There's a saying in English, a man is a product of his own thinking. It's not right to say anymore, a man is a product of, a person is a product of, a lot of women is also reading, and so a person is a product of his own thinking. The more you think, the more you grow yourself. I think that's the reality. A lot of people think that after college, and that's the last thing, when did you last study? They say, okay, that's when I was in the college. That's what many people remember. And if you look at people who have grown from a very ordinary level to an extraordinary level, I think it is because of a constant endeavor to enrich their knowledge. One of the source is books. I think the constant reading of that, when I was a child onwards, when I was a student in the school and colleges, I never used to read. I only used to touch the book before last 2 days before the examinations. And that's why I was hating reading books. But all got changed. When I started my own business, I knew that the knowledge what I had was grossly insufficient. I need to do something more. I need to enrich my knowledge. What came very handy to me was the books. And I started reading books.
We as a corporate India, whenever we have problems, as well as issues at company law board, or we have to go to the high court, or from high court to the again back to company law board, and then company law board back to depending on the business, it gets into BAFR. So this convergence is a good thing, Dhanapal, and what I would suggest is that when I went through the book, the guide which he has released today, is certainly going to help the corporate world as well as the professionals. It's going to give a lot of help as a guide. But I think Dhanapal and team should do more of, apart from creating a guide, if we can take a lead on guidance. Guidance is also important today. In the last 2-3 years, there are a lot of things which important. We don't know how this National Company Law Board operates because of the convergence which they have had. So my suggestion to Dhanapal would be, apart from today's release of a guide, if you can take some lead on that, whatever need you could do. On training is a very important part today for this National Company Law Board Tribunal, because a lot of uncertainties, a lot of ifs and buts is there. So it will be help the professionals if you can create some training modules for the profession, apart from the guide which beautifully you have brought in, which I saw that. So the Chartered Accountant, when I read the guide shortly, and it is very, very useful. So my only suggestion is you should extend it to training, and if you can get into a training module, it would help the particularly all. And with that, I'd like to wish Dhanapal and team all the best, and as CK said that we need to expect more releases from Dhanapal, and all the best to you. Thank you.
I'm a fifth generation lawyer. The law consists of, I think I own one of the largest libraries in southern India, and I invest a lot of money in buying law books and journals. And it is my humble opinion, this is one of the best books I have come across in the recent time. The reason is more than once. The law is two types. Law is either is substantive law, which gives you right or take away your right. The procedural law is how to enforce your right. You are not a complete lawyer or a chartered accountant or a company secretary if you do not know both. It is like a gun and bullet. The bullet, without a bullet, the gun is useless, vice versa. Therefore, unless you are thorough with both substantive law as well as procedural law, you cannot call yourself as a complete professional. In that sense, the book written by Mr. Dhanapal is satisfied both. It deals with substantive law as well as procedural. And when I went through it, my old days memories told me there is something all of you know who studied Tamil. Of course, I am a Tamil medium student. In spite of it, for understanding Tamil poems, I need a Konar Urai. I don't know how many people. So this, when I saw this book, it was so, very simple. And it reminded me of Konar Urai of Tamil. So, in an excellent manner he has written. And normally, we say law is complicated, law is an ass. That is because you go behind it and try to do something with it. That is because if you directly face the law, there is no problem. The problem is, when you comply with law, there is no problem. When you disobey law, then the problem starts. And everybody wants to disobey law. That is the problem. More and more expertise. The person who violates law, person who simply complies with law, go to an ordinary person, get these things done. The more and more you violate law, you go to a better lawyer or a better chartered accountant and try to see that how to get over a particular point, and later on you get into problem, and instead of paying the lawyer that much of fees, he could have paid the tax itself. So therefore, the first thing, any professional, which I have followed right from my beginning, that you as far as possible try to advise the client to comply with law. Then if there is a borderline areas where you can use your brain and say, no, this does not, all those things are there. Therefore, I hope that every one of the professionals in the state or in the country buy this book and help the client to comply with the law in a more effective manner. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
First of all, I just wanted to compliment Dhanapal for the great work done. Normally what happens as a banker, when you wanted to take a decision in the split of the second or within a shortest possible time, you depend on the team which works with you. We have a great trust. One need to have a trust with the team which is just delivering. Nevertheless, at that point of time, sometimes, or chinna poritatto, solradhu righta tappa. Where do I make a reference? If you just turn around, office would have built up a big library of books. Searching the books is a problem. Today's the hottest topic is your IBC, NCLT, NCALT. So almost every second decision you take is because on that. There I must thank Mr. Dhanapal for providing me a bound book which I'll keep it in the library, an unbound book on my table so that it doesn't occupy much space. so that make a reference quickly onto it and ensure that my GM, recovery, Raghu, whatever says is relevant. Another thing is also there. I mean, our learned Additional Solicitor General mentioned about Konar Tirukkural. திருக்குறள் எல்லாருக்கும் படிக்க தெரியும், நெட்ரு பண்ணி ஒப்பிச்சு ஒரு பிரைஸ் வாங்கிடுவோம் எல்லாரும். நிறைய புக் வாங்கியிருக்கேன் சின்ன வயசுல. அதுக்கு அர்த்தம் என்னடான்னு வீட்டில் அப்பா கேட்டாருன்னா கொஞ்சம் இருப்பா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு உள்ளுக்குள்ள போய் வாத்தியார் சொன்ன நோட்ஸ் எடுத்து பார்ப்போம். Law book by itself, there are so many books have come. NCLT, NCALT, being a banker that you have to pick up many things. It will have italics, number, at par. You have to read another page. You have to read to the references given in some other page, refer to the fourth page. Those kind of things is like a Tirukkural. You can get the meaning out of it, it has a perfect one. But in the book, and that is the book what this gentleman has just released to us. Thank you, Mr. Dhanapal, for coming out to the guide, which will facilitate us to understand that at par, dollar sign, and 1, 2, 3. Every page of the law will always have 1, 2, 3. So that 1, 2, 3 we do not know endless number. Up to 9 it will go, next page will start 1, 2, 3 again. So that way you just made our life easy. Thank you very much for making a wonderful book.
With his practice, and two of his partners have worked very usefully and insightfully to produce this book. The commendations in the book bring out the characteristics of the book, and Mr. Rajagopal has already brought out a very important point. I think that it covers both substantive law and procedural law in this particular area, and he has also given it high praise, saying, I know his and his brothers' law collections, GRs for example, and they are reputed, and if he says here openly that this is one of the best books that he has come across on a particular field, I think that is high praise indeed. I got this book yesterday. In fact, I must say that I believe that books must be bought, and I'm quite uncomfortable when you get 1, 2, 3 copies of a book in a launch function. But of course, we will share it with others or return it to the organizers, because these books are quite expensive, are valuable, and a lot of people would like to get their hands on it. I think the pricing is reasonable. Reference was made to R.K. Narayan, the great Indian writer, and he used to say that books should not be released. They should be picked up from the shelves of libraries and bookshops. But books also have to be launched so that people come to know about the book, the fact that there is this book, and also what the book offers, going into some detail, providing insights on, for example, the 2 aspects of law that have been referred to. So I particularly appreciate the fact that this book has got a good reception already.
Firstly, the author. I knew him from 2005 on a professional engagement when we had done a scheme of whatever you may call it, a demerger or a merger. Everything was involved in it. The meticulous preparation, the thorough paperwork, and the complete case study which he made supporting me to ensure that we place before the courts, we were able to, as a team, I think, achieve what the client wanted. With no disrespect to the speaker, I always say, rightly, you are not sitting in the right place. Wrongly, we are sitting in the right place. Meaning, wherever we are, lawyers have the last laugh. But the so-called professionals like company secretaries or chartered accountants or professionals who really, I would say, deserve, based on their knowledge and experience, lose out because we are lawyers and they are company secretaries. A classic example is Mr. Harish Salve. He was not found in any forum until he became a lawyer, who's ended up being the Solicitor General and the #1 chartered, I would say, lawyer now in the country. As long as he was a chartered accountant, he did not make it to that level. It is these kind of professionals with their knowledge, I ultimately feel, they should be found in our profession rather than we alone being found here. Number one. That is not out of fear what I'm saying. It is our fear that professionals like them enter, we lose out. No. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. A nice, I would say, a quote by a person called Jack Canfield. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. When you get these kind of professionals in our practice, I think the profession increases its esteem, knowledge, as well as also the respect with the society. With the lawyers, whomever quote unquote you know, with the image what lawyers have as of now, I'm absolutely sure that I've talked something superlative about what lawyers are about. But the cream is the ones which actually make it. So I firstly say that he should have actually been in our profession, both as a lawyer and coupled with author and academic skill what he has got. And the inculcation of, I should say, the way he has written, and what I knew him about 10 years back, is absolutely phenomenal, the way he has progressed for the last 12 years. Making wearing of helmets compulsory by two-wheeler riders. Giving a direction, இன்னைக்கு குற்றாலத்துல வந்து வழிக்கு விடாம அங்க குளிக்க முடியும்னா நம்ம தலைவர்னால தான். Direction, preventing use of shampoo, soap, oil in Kutralam Falls. These two directions definitely requires boldness. Number one, direction to teach sexual education in school itself, and insistence about importance of premarital clinical examination. இது சிவகாசிக்குனே கொடுத்த ஒரு வரம் இது. Direction to seize and destroy Chinese crackers. Cockfight is directed to be prohibited. Cockfight is directed to be prohibited. இது எல்லா இடத்துலயுமே நாம வந்து இந்த வாசகம் பார்ப்போம் நம்ம ரோட்ல போகும்போது. The direction to prohibit use of cell phone while driving. 2010 அவரோட direction அது. And most important for film industry, he has deprecated that the violent scenes and glorifying the criminals as heroes in the movie, as it would affect the psychology of young people. Friends, just snippets I have shared with you. Definitely requires a very big round of applause, friends.
After independence, the governments which were run, socialist governments, left-oriented governments, after 1968, Mrs. Gandhi took over, nationalization took place, and the Privy Purse was also abolished, and there was a break of Congress. The nationalization took, everything was nationalized, right from banks to transport. Thereafter, change of government. But the disciple of Mrs. Gandhi, P.V. Narasimha Rao, when he took power in 1991, he opened the doors for multinationals. And that was the change. Multinationals have come inside and they started establishing companies. And thereafter only the company started gaining prominence. Justice Balakrishna Yarade committee was formed, and it has filed a report. And based on that, amendment was sought to be introduced in 2002. That was challenged by Madras Bar Association. And it was upheld by the Madras High Court. Supreme Court also confirmed. Certain provisions have been struck down. Thereafter, 2012, again, the NCLT bills sought to be introduced. Again, it was challenged but upheld. In 2013 only, the NCLT has been established, but with the effect from 1st June 2016. You all know. It is a very powerful tribunal, more powerful than High Court, more powerful than Supreme Court, because it has got powers under the Companies Act, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Act. The other two, what has been done by the High Court, Company Law Board, SICA, everything has been given to the specialized tribunal. And I gone through the book because from 2016 onwards only the tribunal has been established, and it is only in nascent stage. The procedures which have to be followed while making an application, and many of us may not be knowing, and everybody will be filing in their own way. But Mr. Dhanapal has taken much pain, and he has sorted out all those things which have to be filed. Wherever the procedure is there, the substantial provision is also noted, chart is there, master chart is there, and thereafter every chapter he has given a chapter subsequently, appendix is there, notifications, circulars, everything has been given. As rightly pointed out by Mr. G. Rajagopalan, the substantial law and procedural law, both are two sides of the same coin.
Surely thank all the dignitaries to the dais who are really kind enough to come over here and release the books. And that's a respect that we get to the subject and to the court. So really I request a round of applause, encouragement for the time that they have spent. I remember a year back, exactly May 2017, I was standing not here in a different forum. My book was released, Guide to Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, 2016. The insolvency code is such a tough topic. How to understand this? In fact, the entire process has started writing books. It's not that because I'm an author, I'm talking something that. In fact, what I'm talking is a fact. The entire process started writing book itself. First, we want to understand, as a team, we want to understand the law. It is not that I want to write something and get it released by dignitaries and see that it's selling in the market. No, that's not the intention, particularly for us. For us, always any law comes, it's not today. You take it from 2009, when Limited Liability Partnership Act came, in 2009. Literally, the entire market were completely confused. What is that limited liability? They were confused. In fact, that day it struck me that why we should not simply read the entire thing and put it in a very lucid way. So that thought process literally made me to broad. LLP made easy. In fact, literally maybe over courageous also may look. In 2009, LLP, the entire country was looking as a so tough and draconian law. Where I released a book in 2009, LLP made easy. So there I gained the confidence, right? We could even tell a law which is so much worrying the country, where we could come out and simplifying the entire thing. Why not we try with other acts? That we tried with the Companies Act, that we tried with the insolvency law, now we tried with the NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal. We don't know really when we go outside of this hall, we don't know what amendment would have come. Probably we have not browsed any website, or we have not seen anything. That level the changes are coming up. Literally speaking, though we would have written book, if you ask me something immediately I can't say. I have to see that, no, I have to check whether it is an amendment through rule, amendment in notification or circular, or even notification is getting amended by another notification, and whether the law is, act is getting amended, rule is getting amended, or notification is getting amended, or removal of difficulty orders, in which form it got amended. In fact, today, someone can say that rules is amended, or particular provision is amended, but if you ask that person, anybody for this matter, including me, anybody for this matter, if you ask him that how this amendment took place, whether it is by Amendment Act, or Amendment Rule, Amendment Notification, or Circular, nobody can say that. Because that level, sea changes are happening in the legal parlance. Literally, I am blessed with the good team, and I would fail my duty if I don't thank really my family. They are really compromising a lot. So I literally, my wife and my mother is here, and how my justice has said, my mother also belongs to a family where not so educated. So in fact, they brought us to this level, and they want us to do something to the society. And today the God has blessed me to do something like that. As I told you, I won't take entire credit of it. The entire process is for us to understand. Today, to some extent, we have understood by coming out with this book. I can't say we have understood everything, because the law is evolving every day, and even my insolvency book, now I need a supplement. It's now off waste, almost my last year insolvency book. My 2016 companies act book, almost 90% is waste today. I have to come out with another edition only. So laws keep changing like that, and really I thank each and everyone.
All of you have been very patiently have been present here, focusing and listening to the 2-hour plus deliberation. Thank you one and all for your presence here, and your blessings to your encouragement to the author, and also for his future endeavor in his journey to write books. Thank you one and all.